So you have seen evaluating the cash flows, right? If I invest in a project, how do I evaluate the cash flows, right? We will take a cue from that calculation to understand things further. Now, we're talking about investment analysis, investment to invest money. Second step we are talking about, right? First step, we will talk sometime later, funding. First, we are talking about investing. What are the main reasons? For lot of reasons. So your syllabus has effectively told 4 reasons, which is generally applicable, okay, from a practical perspective also, right? To continue my business, I need to invest, right? To continue to do the business at the same level, let's say AC I'm using for 4 years, 5 years. Now to continue to do the business, I need to buy new machine. That is also capital investment, right? I will do investment analysis. Okay, what amount should I spend? Which type of asset should I buy? What type of configuration should I use in this machine, right? To continue to do the business or improve the efficiency also, right? I'm using this machine. This machine is consuming so much of power. This machine is able to produce only 1,000 units. If I improvise the machine a little, right, spend a little amount, probably this machine will produce 1,500 units, or it may reduce lesser. It may increase. It may increase output. It may reduce the electricity consumption, right, or betterment of my product, right? Managing risk management, day-to-day risk management. So to continue to do the business at the same level also, I need to do capital investment. At that point also, for example, we may have to do this analysis. Okay, NPV IRR analysis you will have to do. Okay, whether to invest or not. What is the cost benefit analysis? Right, cost benefit analysis is not only with reference to machine. Machine is only an example. Okay, for example, deploying a software. Right, if I have to deploy a software in my business, right, that also is a capital investment only. The cost runs into crores. The cost runs into crores or lakhs. So what is the benefit if I deploy the software, right? There could be financial benefits, there could be non-financial benefits, right? Employees' life will be made easier. Employees' output will be much higher. Employee can focus on people can focus more on adding more value rather than just doing processing things, right? So this capital investment is with reference to not only just putting up a plant. It can be for like additional. I want to hire additional 100 employees. Their salary cost for next 5 years is so much, right? Even though it is not one day investment, you are going to invest month on month, month on month. You are going to pay salary 100 employees. Even if you pay 50,000 rupees, 50 lakh rupees a month, right? That becomes the cash flow analysis. Right, that is also you can treat that as a capital investment also, even though it is a revenue expenditure from accounting perspective. That is also a project, that is also an investment, right? To continue to do the business, what are all the basically for what all purpose I am doing this capital investment? One is for continuing to do the business, maintaining the business, right? Then the other one is compliance, regulatory compliance. Right? Because you're running such a factory, you need to invest in pollution management, you need to invest in waste management, compliance with various laws. Right? You're running a bank. Okay, very good example is of Paytm. Okay, Paytm, I've already exhausted taking the examples. Paytm is already gone now. Let us look at something. New will come. Look at this. think the prices fell almost by 2%, which was a big fall. So what happened? What is the summary of this? What is the summary of this? There was basically IT systems were not effective, right? The data, basically, the bank did not have like sophisticated systems or did not have the right safety measures, right? So serious deficiencies and non-compliances were observed in the areas of IT inventory management, user access management, right? All the things. Very simple. User access means what is your username and what is your password. That also has to be maintained properly, right? It cannot be leaked out, right, by hackers. So what type of measures you have taken? So RBI had flagged these measures, but despite that, bank did not take sufficient steps in telling that yes, we have taken sufficient steps. So RBI action. So what RBI did? RBI told for some time you will not onboard new customers using online, onboarding new customers through online and mobile banking channels, and issuing fresh credit cards online. Right? So basically, that becomes if you don't comply. Right now, if I had complied, will I get additional revenue? No. Right? But if I don't comply, what happens? These kind of actions, right? It impacts the credibility, right? Data is at risk, right? And government, the regulator may ask you to stop doing business. That becomes a risk. So there is a very famous saying: if you feel compliance is costly, then try non-compliance. Or if you feel compliance is costly, try non-compliance. So what happens? Huge impact. Are you getting it? That's a very famous saying. Okay, try non-compliance. If you feel compliance is costly, fine, don't comply. Then you see what happens. So to comply with regulators, to comply with various laws also, I will have to invest this, even if NPV is negative. You cannot say I'm not going to get any financial benefit. How will I invest? You will have to invest. You don't have a choice. NPV from that particular project will be negative, but overall, if you see the benefit, it will benefit only ultimately. Do not yield return, but avoid costs and penalties. You don't get additional revenue, but you can avoid costs and penalties. Very simple: wearing a helmet and going. Right? If you feel I can drive safely, nothing will happen. It is okay. But if you don't wear and that fellow catches, that fellow does not catch, camera catches, and your father receives a message. Okay, because in my bike, my father only receives a message, so I have to be careful. If the bike is in my name, I will be okay. The moment he receives message, he will call me 10 times. And at times, my vehicle, this fellow will take. Okay, and then I stop giving my vehicle to him. You take your bike, don't. I'll give you petrol. Okay, that is much easier, right? And car, I have to be very extra careful. You never know from where that fellow will catch and send a message, right? And car, my brother has a message. My brother will catch me. So yeah, so basically very simple. You can understand by these things about regulatory compliance. Okay, grow. Then so maintaining the business, growing the business. What is the business? So basically expansion of existing business, right? New business, new R&D. Okay, expanding the existing business. My production capacity is 5,000 units. I want to do 10,000 units. My volume is so many units. My turnover is 1 crore. I want to do it 2 crores. Right? Expanding. Then new lines of business. So for expanding R&D within the business, that means you are expanding from the business size perspective, from the scope perspective, right? And you're spending on R&D within the business, right? You're doing more and more research. You're trying to find out, okay, I am selling laptops. Now within this laptop, what more features can I add? So I'm doing R&D on that. Okay, and I'm selling laptop. I want to venture out, maybe to take up totally a different product altogether, and I'm doing R&D for that. That is new lines of business. Okay, R&D outside your existing products. Okay, for diversification you are doing. So capital investment, when I'm talking about capital budgeting, we also call it as capital. Traditional word is capital budgeting for this. Okay, when we do this, that is done for all these reasons. Okay, now capital allocation process, NPV. Okay, so there is some good analysis about NPV, which you have already seen. Positive NPV investments increase the wealth of the shareholders. Negative reduces. Zero NPV, a project should be taken or not? Should I take NPV zero? Should I accept the project or not? No. Why no?
Because there is no there is no return also. Like they are investing in this free rate. It doesn't start. So for that we can for that like we can invest in bond itself, so there is no risk return. If we invest in such projects, there is a risk, like business risk. That's not this.
Zero NPV, right?
Yes, sir.
What is your required rate of return?
14.
How much is the project giving?
13 points.
14 roughly. Sir? It is not that you are not getting return. You are getting the return here. You are getting 14% return here.
But we are exposed to the risk also.
That is a separate thing. It is not that I am not getting return. Understand? So you said I can invest in risk-free bond. Bond will give how much? 6% only, 7%, whatever it is. Right? You are exposed to risk. That is why you are telling my required rate of return is 14%. I'm getting NPV 0 doesn't mean I'm not making money. Understand? You have to understand that if NPV is 0 doesn't mean I'm not making money. That is the assumption normally everyone will have. Okay, NPV is 0. That means no point in investing. I'm not getting anything. No, you are getting 14% return. That is what you wanted. Now, if you want 16%, that is why it says it's very simple. I know to swim, right? Now, my capacity to swim could be like I can go 8 feet deep. That's all. Your capacity could be 12 feet deep. You can go and swim in 12 feet also, 15 feet also, 20. Everyone has a different capacity. I am telling I am okay with 8 feet deep. That means I can also swim. I am also going inside. Right now, your capacity is 20 feet. Now, if you ask me to go 20 feet, I may not go. Then I will say, no, let me not take a chance here. Getting my point? I am also part of that process where I am also taking a dip only till 8 feet, 10 feet, whatever is my capacity. So my capacity, I am telling 14%, I am okay. But you are telling, no, I want 20%. Then fine, you may not be okay. So negative, basically zero NPV doesn't mean that zero NPV doesn't mean that you're not making money. Zero NPV could be accepted because it meets the required rate of return. Okay, but what? It leaves no room for error. What does this mean? See, all this is forecasting process. Correct? All this is forecasting process. I'm not able to say within my preparation status whether I will pass 100% or not. அதுவே நம்மளால சொல்ல முடியல. Right? Where is the question of forecasting the revenue will be 1.6 million for next 5 years 1.1 million will be the variable cost for the next 5 years. So much will be the fixed cost for next 5 years. No, not possible. Even if there is a slight change in number, right? 1.6 becomes 1.5 million. What happens? This number will become 138. Gone. Getting my point? When we say no room for error means your forecasting or your assumption, even if they are not erroneous, tomorrow if it changes a little, instead of you making profit of 238, your profit is only 200. Let's say tax rate changes. Then what happens? Your NPV becomes negative. So zero NPV project could be accepted. It meets the required rate of return, but you have to be very, very careful. Okay, NPV is only one factor in the allocation process. That is not the main factor. Yes, NPV has to be positive, that is there, but that is not the only criteria. There are a lot of other criteria, whether I want to do the business or not. Whether I want to do this project. This project, if I do, this project may give negative return, which is okay. But only if I do this project, I'll be able to do other projects. This project, okay, let me invest in this product. I may not make money. I am losing out money, but at least my brand name is known to the people. Right? Competing projects, intangible consideration, and so on that factor into the decision. So basically, other projects are there. Lot of other factors, intangible considerations. Intangible, that means the other consideration are perceived brand value, right? Taking market share. Those are other considerations, so on, which factor into the decision, not the NPV alone. Okay, therefore, NPV greater than 0 can be viewed as a necessary but not sufficient condition for making an investment. Okay, these are non-financial attributes of NPV. Financial attributes we have seen when we did the calculation, right? The reinvestment at the required rate of return, IRR, relationship with IRR. Non-financial attributes is what we are discussing more here of NPV analysis. What are we doing? We are trying to analyze whether to invest or not. We are in the investment stage. There is a proposal to investment. We are trying to analyze whether to invest or not. From that perspective, we are trying to understand what this NPV is. Clear? Able to understand? Okay, so I will take your example. You are investing in the market. Yes or no? Yes. So you will give me the information, actual information now. You will tell me how much you invested in last, let's say, 4 months with dates approximately. There is this concept I am trying to explain now. Okay, I'm not making fun. Don't worry. So quickly, how much money did you put from your pocket, from your bank account in Zerodha or Grow? Which app you are using? Grow. From your bank account, how much did you put money? 20K. When? Date? Roughly. Month? August. So let's say 15th August, Independence Day. Holiday. Parallel. Anikku, your independence ante na 20,000 potachi. Ipo enna achu daily paathukken. Then any other date? Any other amount before this? After this? That's all. Only 20. Before this, any other amount? 10th August. இப்போதான் வரப்பார். How much? 10,000. Then before this. அவ்வளவுதானா? Now, see, the point is, when we do basically the investment, right, the cash flows are not even. Right, here the assumption was you will get even cash flows. But in reality, does it happen? Will this 238 remain 238 forever? Right? So one assumption of NPV is you generally take even cash flows. And when did we say these numbers will come? At the end of the first year, at the end of the second year, at the end of the third year. What does it happen? Do you get the cash flows only on 31st December? Do you get the cash flows only on 1st April? No, right? These operations are on a daily basis. Right? And so this fellow, what he thought, he will invest in August month, he will invest on August 30th, he said, I will invest 30,000. Right? But what happened? looking at the markets, he got excited and pata de di or 10,000 rupee potachu. Adukaprom he would have told himself that okay, now I will invest on 31st August only. Adukulla marubadiya markets went up. 10,000 became 11,000. So he got tempted and he invested on 14th August another 20,000. Enappa? Correct? Now what happens? That means I'm not investing only at the end of the years. Right? Cash flows can occur at any point in time. Right? So the end of this is not 1 year, the end of this is not 2, the end of this is not 3. Getting it? Okay. So now let me take extending this example, showing how things can work out in reality. So let's say first July, I'm investing, let's say 10,000. Then after 20 days, I'm investing another 15,000 randomly. Okay. After 30 days, I'm investing another 25,000. Right. My objective is to invest in this year 1 lakh rupees. Okay. I'm investing another 20,000. Okay. Or we will take till date. Okay. 1st October. Then okay, let's say on 1st July. How much? 15,000. So I wanted to invest 1 lakh. So till date I have invested 1 lakh. Okay. Now let's say this I have invested in the market. Okay. Different days. Okay. So number of days. How do I calculate? How many days are over from this 1st June till today? Let's say the 1 lakh that which I have invested is roughly around 1,13,000. The value of the stocks today is roughly 1,13,000. So how much return I have made? 13%. You cannot tell this as CFA candidates. Layman will tell 13%. You cannot say 13%. 13% what per annum you have made? I have not invested for 1 year also. This investment I did yesterday only. Last week only I did this investment. So this 15,000 has been invested for how many days? Right? So number of days is equal to this minus this, correct? Right? So n is how much? N is what? Divided by? So n is like this only. Correct? So this is my cash flow, this is my n. Agree? So same thing, whatever we did the cash flow here, same thing I'm doing here. Here we said n is 2, n is 3, n is 4, n is 5. Then I applied the power accordingly here. Right? Power 1, power 2, power 3, power 4, power 5 I applied. Same thing I'm doing here. I'm applying the n here. Correct? This is my n. Okay. Now if I have to calculate, here we do not know the rate. We are trying to calculate what? Rate. It is not 13%. 13% is what? 13% is holding period gain, not annualized. This holding period gain, where did you see? Bonds. Okay, so this is n. I want to calculate my effective return here. Because it is not 13%, you understand. The 15,000 I invested in June, that 10 I invested in this date, this so much invested, and that value today is 113 overall. Okay, now this 15,000, whatever stocks you purchased, right? If you have sold, that calculation also we can go in depth. In reality, when portfolio managers, right, where they are playing with billions of money, millions of money, crores of money, there they will look at individual day what activity has been done, and it will be done. We are not going into that deeper. First, we are trying to understand at a high level. Okay, my effective rate of return is what I am trying to calculate here. N is so much, right? Future value already known. Present value, the various cash flows are already known. I want to calculate the rate. How do I calculate? Because the way NPV works here, NPV will not give the accurate number here. Right? Why? The cash flows are different and the periodicity is also totally different. It is not that I am telling because it is 1 year. It can be within, let's say, this can be 2025. So this could be 476 days. This need not be whole years. It need not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 in reality. Accordingly, that power will get applied. Right? This is instead of 1, we are getting this. Right? So now, if I have to calculate, let's say my effective rate of return is 10%. I'm telling this investment will give me a return of 10%. Okay. In that case, what is the value here? Calculate. It will give me 10% return. 15,000 is the investment. Tell me what will be the value here, future value. You will not use present value, future value function in the calculator. If you use present value, future value, what all inputs you will do?
PV is minus. I understand that 122 divided by 365. So I will wait 10%. So TMT is 0 computed.
Do it manually without TVM function. How will you do it? Which formula will you apply? The whole power? N. Which is how much here?
0.3.
Tell me the number quickly. 15,000 into 1 plus. Right? So if I'm telling if the required rate of return is 10%, my future value, my value should have been so much today. Correct? So 10,000 into this 92, basically for 92 days, I'm calculating. Right? 15,000 for this 72 days, I'm calculating. Right? So from that perspective, my value, if I'm earning a 10% rate, my value today should have been so much. Clear? This is clear, right? But I do not know what I'm telling is my value is how much? 113,000. So how do I calculate? Now, mathematically, manually, it cannot be done. Using systems only we can do. So you can use, there is a function called goal seek. Okay, so set cell to this cell to value how much? 1,13,000 by changing the cell this one. 28% return. Okay. So if this is one, so you see now it is taking 128%. Now, don't know 128%. எந்திரிச்சு போலாம் CFA class and open பண்ணிட்டு trading accountல loan வாங்கிட்டு காசு போட்டுட்டு. So if it is negative, no, this 128 will become 256% negative. Okay, let's say if this is, if I have to do this again, data, what if analysis goal seek. Let's say this cell is goal seek, set cell to 50,000 by changing cell to this. Hmm? 100% negative. Right? So it is only purely for academic purpose. You see now what is happening? If I have to calculate IRR for this, so this number is how much? 1,13,000, right? How will I calculate the IRR for this? So these are my investments, right? And this investment is turning out to be how much? 113,000. So let me do IRR. Right? Which is incorrect. Your IRR is what? Why? Because IRR as a function, right, is not capable to give output based on this unconventional cash flows. Why? Because IRR is thinking this is happening in year 1, this is happening in year 2, this is happening in year 3. Able to understand? Right? So what do we do for this? So there is a function called in your spreadsheet XNPV. Okay, where you put the rate, let's say 10% if I have to put, then I have to give the values, okay, and I will give the dates. In the regular NPV calculation, okay, it assumes annual cash flows. Who are son? In the regular NPV calculation, it assumes annual cash flows. It will simply ask for 10% and it will simply ask for values. So what happens, for example, here, in this case, NPV calculation,